Hello there and welcome. I'm just sitting here passing time. Time's an interesting subject, isn't it? Haven't got time. It's about time. It's your time. Listen, we all get exactly the same amount of time. Exactly. Now here's something interesting. The sand in the bottom of the glass represents the past. The sand in the top of the glass represents the future. This is the way it actually is. You have no idea what's in the top of the glass. You only know what's in the bottom of the glass. Isn't that interesting? And you see, the only thing we've got anything to do with is what's right here in the center right now. Everything else is an illusion. It's a myth. It's gone.
To most people, Bob Proctor was this master teacher, this powerful, impactful speaker and leader of the personal development industry. There is no doubt that he has been the one to really waken people up. And I think the reason is because when Bob speaks, he speaks the truth about you. He spoke the truth about me. And that's why I'm so grateful to be Bob Proctor's #1 global consultant at an executive diamond level. Because whilst that's just a title, whilst Bob is just a name, the power is in the spirit. The power is in every one of us.
See, I think we live simultaneously on 3 planes of understanding. We're spiritual creatures, we have an intellect, and we live in physical bodies. But because we lack awareness or understanding of who we are, we're totally locked into a physical world, and we let things outside of us control us. 95% of the population are reacting to life. They're not really living at all.
It's not what you're doing, it's how you do it. Kim is the best.
Thank you, Bob.
Do you know, for over 50 years now, I have worked all over the world helping people with personal development, helping them become the person they really want to be. Kim Calvert is, without question, one of the most effective people that I have ever worked with. If you want to multiply your income, if you want to multiply your effectiveness, if you just want to have more friends, have more fun, live a more full life, and don't be stuck ever, you've got to sit down and talk to this woman. Somewhere along the line, you made a decision exactly the same I did, that you were really going to gain an understanding of this information. When I sat down many years ago with Earl Nightingale in Chicago, I made up my mind I was going to learn what he was doing, and I was going to keep getting better at it all my life, and I've done that. You've obviously done a similar thing.
Absolutely, I have.
So I'm grateful for every moment, for every blessing, for every lesson, and for every hug. But I don't see this as the end. I see this as the beginning. And I am willing, I am ready, and I am committed to living on this legacy in whatever shape and form that evolves into. Because I know that Bob is still here. Spirit is 100% evenly present at all times and in all places. And for that, I am grateful.
She can teach you the science of success. And if you're dealing with this woman right here, you've got one of the best consultants in our company.
Everything that has happened right up to this moment in your life has been absolutely essential to make you the person you are, to prepare you to do whatever it is you're going to do.
All right, welcome everybody to the most perfect day to be celebrating Bob Proctor. Oh my goodness, just watching that video every time, it definitely is emotional. I can feel the energy, I can feel the power. As you guys were enjoying watching some of those clips, I was just sitting here. I have a picture of Bob on my back wall, and I was just sitting saying, help me tonight to serve you, because this is what this is all about. I think the greatest thing about Bob Proctor was that he never made it about himself, but he made it about you. And that is my intention tonight. That is my goal tonight, Now, for all of you who are coming in from all over the world, I just want to say, first and foremost, a massive thank you. And that's not a thank you from me, but a thank you from really just for Bob. You know, Bob's not with us here in the physical plane anymore, but he certainly is here on the spiritual. And I'm sure you can feel that energy. I would love to know where everyone is coming in from. Let me know if you're here inside Zoom. Let me know inside the chat box. I can see so many of your beautiful faces. It's lovely to have you here. If you're watching inside the source, then hello, welcome. Drop a message in there. I'd love to see how many countries that we are impacting tonight, because I'll tell you one thing, Bob absolutely loved when he got to see how many people he was impacting across the world. Look at that: Holland, Tenerife, Emerald Islands, USA, Kenya, Donegal. There's always someone from Donegal. It's always great. Sweden, the Netherlands, London. Beautiful, so good. It's so beautiful to have you here. Thank you for being here. Now, I am your host tonight, and normally I'm the one teaching, but tonight we have something so special for you. But I certainly wanted to come on and welcome you. And for everyone who is watching on YouTube, on any social channels, come to the inside. That is my biggest thing for you right now, because there is going to be so much energy in here. We have hundreds of people streaming from all over the world. Croatia as well, fantastic. Canada, Pittsburgh, USA, incredible. Thank you for being here. Bob is just, I've no doubt he is here in this office with me tonight. He is in your home. He is on your phone. He is on your computer, because this is the beautiful thing about energy. It is everywhere. It is everything. And, you know, since Bob passed, what was it, two and a bit years ago, I've probably never felt closer. And sometimes people ask me the question, you know, Kim, what's it like, you know, that Bob is now gone? He was such a huge part, an instrumental part of your life. And, do you know, every time I hear that, it kind of makes me kind of go, oh, yeah, he's not here on the physical. And just like I said in that video, boy, do I miss those hugs. Boy, do I miss sometimes those real good mentorship sessions where he really puts me in my place. For sure, I miss all of those moments. But I genuinely have never felt closer. And if you've ever heard Bob Proctor, or maybe you are brand new, you know what energy I'm talking about. It is so special. It is so powerful. And that's why we wanted to put on this event tonight, because today is Bob Proctor's birthday. He would be 90 years young today. And what a beautiful way to celebrate the life, the lessons, and the legacy by bringing people together and teaching and sharing. Because as I said, Bob's #1 goal in this life was to really help people develop a life that they really wanted to live. And that's something that I asked to you straight out the gate. What is the life that you truly want to live? Bob always said to take a pen. And you probably know I have Bob Proctor's very pen. He took it out of his blazer. He gave it to me. And I tell you what, I keep this safe. And he always says, Kim, just lift a pen and write out how you want your life to be. And wow, does that work? And I'm going to be sharing some things at the end of tonight. So I want you to get comfy. I want you to get a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or a beverage of your choice. And I want you to really sit and open up your mind to possibilities tonight. You know, that's one thing that is so important. Anytime you attend any seminar like this, you want to come with an intention. You want to really even take a piece of paper. I always come with a blank sheet, okay? Because you want to have this space. You know, you want to shut off the TV, switch off all the other apps on your computer, put your phone on silent, even better, turn it over. Tell the kids they can go do what they want for the next 90 minutes. And I want you to lock in. I want you to listen, but I want you to be intentional. Because when you come to something like this and you don't really, either know why you're here, and some of you may not know why you're here. You're kind of like, I'm going to check this out. Good for you. There's a reason. You'll find out why. But for anyone that is listening to my voice right now, sit with a pen, put it at the top of your paper. What are you here for? What do you want to get out of this? Because if you say even one word or a sentence, what happens to the mind is, the mind as it listens to Bob, as it listens to me, you will pick up exactly what you need to hear. Now, I have no doubt that you're here for a great reason. Maybe your life has been really busy and you've been spinning a lot of plates, or maybe you've been spinning your wheels, or maybe you are flying and you're quantum leaping in your results. It really doesn't matter, because we're all the same. And what that means is we all want to be better. Bob always said, better is a good word. And I kind of never thought like that before. When I first heard that, I kind of thought, well, I should just be grateful for what I have, and I should just make do. That was the thinking that I was brought up in. And absolutely, you should be grateful for what you have. But the true essence of gratitude is to be grateful for what you already know is here in the now. You just may not be able to see it, smell it, touch it, taste it, because your senses are what really kind of let us down. And you're going to hear all about this tonight. So be intentional, switch off distractions. If you're watching on YouTube or any social media account, I invite you to click the links that you see available. Come to the inside. We have someone here that will let you in. And if you are inside the Source, or you're here inside Zoom, make sure you download the Source app, because the Source is a very special story in itself. In fact, it was part of the very last conversation that I had with Bob. I told him, well, he asked me a question in 2018, and I'm not going to go into huge detail, but he asked me a question, and I think it was more of a challenge. Now, if you know Bob Proctor, he loves a challenge or two. And he really sets an idea in my mind. He planted a seed. He knew exactly what he was doing. And over 4 years, I developed the Source. And that's what so many of you right here are in. And if you're not in, please go ahead and download the app. Follow the links in your emails. We are contacting you in all sorts of places, because we have a huge purpose and mission here at Dynamite Lifestyle. And that is to awaken people up one thought at a time. I'm on a mission to impact 100 million lives. And I have built the Source, which is a platform that really provides all of your personal and professional development needs. And just by even being in this free masterclass, there's been no charge here. We've been giving you so much value. You can have a message from me every day. You can practice your gratitude. But you know what's even more special? It's the one place you can go and mix with like-minded people. It's the one place that you can come to that keeps you focused, not distracted. You want to start to learn to be really more distracted by your desires, not by things that are outside of you. Also, look out for your messages. My team, myself are contacting you because we want to support you, we want to guide you. Now, if anybody of you are wondering, who are you? Well, hopefully you've gathered by now. My name is Kim Calvert, and I am so proud and so honored to say that I was Bob Proctor's #1 consultant globally at an executive diamond level. In fact, I have my little executive diamond here that you can hopefully see. There you go. That's what the executive diamond pin looks like. I'm the only person in the world that has one of these, and I keep it very safe, along with my diamond pin, my gold pin, my silver pin. And I'm not here to go, look at me and all these awards, because I tell you now, I am a very ordinary person, very down to earth. And I just became a really good student. And that's what Bob told me. He said in the beginning, Kim, become a product of the product. Don't make it about you. This is something that is going to move to and through you. And wow, has it done that. And I'm so privileged for the ideas that have used me. Now, some of you probably know my backstory, and I'm not going to take too long before we bring Bob on, but I was a nurse. I was working your normal kind of day-to-day job, didn't love school at all. I'm dyslexic, wasn't good at math, kind of always thought I'm not that bright. And I don't know about you, but I always kind of had the impression growing up, you got to be smart, you got to work hard, you got to get a good job, and your life is sorted. Well, anybody tried that and it's maybe not working out so well? Let me know in the chat. I did that for 10 years. I was in mental health, working in the field of mental health psychiatry with young people. And whilst that was a very rewarding and beautiful job, I found myself asking myself questions. I would stare out the window probably too much, and I would sit and think to myself, is this it? Is there more? I feel that there is, but I don't see more. I don't see more in my bank account. I was definitely not getting good results in my personal life. I was really struggling. In fact, I was in a place where internally, to the outside, I probably was your normal average person. Internally, I was ripping myself apart. My fundamental belief was I was not good enough. I was not worthy. I was not lovable. And that stayed with me right up until the age of 28. And that's a pretty long time. It's a short time in a lifespan, but it's a pretty long time to think you're unlovable. And of course, what I seen in my results was results that were proving it. And this is what happens. We have these deep-seated beliefs, and then we see evidence of them, and there we go, there's the cycle. And what I realized was what represented me would always represent to me. So I attracted relationships. They didn't love me. They didn't treat me well. I went through a lot of pain. Anybody had heartbreak? Yep, had that. Not fun. And I used to blame people. I used to blame the hospital. I used to blame mom and dad. I used to blame governments. I was blaming anybody that would listen. And I took no responsibility for my results because I didn't realize that I was the creator of my results. Until one day, this was the make or break. I'm standing in the pet shop, as many of you may know. I'm really at this point, when you're walking around, but you're kind of in a daydream, but you're not really, you're there, but the lights aren't on. Well, that was me. I was just going through life, paycheck to paycheck, working really hard, doing extra shifts, doing extra jobs. And at the end of the month, I was no better off. This did not make sense to me. I was fed up. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Can anybody relate? Relationships poor, health was poor. I even tried going to the gym and getting fit, thinking this is the answer. If I get in shape, if I get a six-pack, if I get really fit, then I'll be lovable. And you know what? I did pretty well. I won some competitions, but I still had the inner voice, you're not that good. So that day in the pet shop, when I'm standing, getting some food for Roxy and Rex, I had my hands in my pocket and I was squeezing so tightly because I was in pain, because I knew I could not afford dog food. Now that was a low moment in my life. In fact, it was one of the lowest moments in my life, and it was one of the greatest moments in my life. Because that was the moment I made a decision, things are going to change. I'm not going to do this anymore. There has to be a better way. I don't feel like I'm good enough, but I'm now that low. I need to do something. And that's where it all started. I made a decision that day. Things are going to change. I came across Bob Proctor on YouTube. That's how I came across it. Many of you might have come across him in the book, The Secret. I never had read The Secret, never heard of it. I wasn't as good as you. And I was watching YouTube thinking, the answer's on YouTube. Flick, next video. Flick, next video. You're falling asleep in bed at night, kind of going, oh, the answer, the secret will be in the next video. And I realized, no, Kim, catch yourself on. It's not going to be on these videos. I bought every book. Didn't actually read them. In fact, I never really read books before I started any of this content. But I was going to things, I was going to seminars, I was doing lots of things, and I had a certain understanding that thoughts became things, but I had no idea how to implement it. So what did I do? I rang Bob, didn't speak to him directly, but I spoke to somebody who asked me about my goals. He started to ask me about me. And to be honest, I was a little bit shy. Well, I was very shy. I was very timid. In fact, Bob always said, I wouldn't bet $5 on you. Well, that's the one bet that he's lost. And I never thought about goals. I never thought about possibilities. But just having those questions, as Bob always says, show me what you want, or tell me what you want, and I'll show you how to get it. That's exactly what I started to entertain a different idea. Instead, if I can't, what if I can? And that day, that moment changed my life forever. And what you're going to listen to tonight is going to change your life if you allow it. Some of you are maybe just here to get your ears tickled. You want to hear another bit of Bob. You want to hear another seminar. I don't care if you're in a mentorship program. I don't care if you've done this I'm 37, if you've studied this for 37 years. The beautiful thing is there's no end to what you can do. In all you're getting, get understanding. The key to success is in awareness. So I invite you tonight to really just sit and be intentional and really open yourself up to what else could this life give to you and bring to you, because there is a marvelous inner world within you. And this is what Bob really brought to me. I started with nothing, £4.20. I sold my car to go and work with Bob Proctor. So trust me, I've heard every excuse under the book. I had no reason on paper to succeed. I have had no business training, no speaking training, no training apart from being at the foot of Bob Proctor for 7 years. And even when I joined, I was a nobody. Nobody knew me. I always counted myself as a bit of an underdog. Even going off to Canada and studying with Bob, I was terrified. What will people think of me? I only cared about what people thought of me. And the ironic thing is I didn't even want anyone to notice me. And I'm sure there are people listening to my voice right now. You either feel this or have felt it. And it doesn't have to be that way. And I only heard Bob speak once. And he's going to share with you tonight exactly the same seminar, the same teaching. And when I heard it, something in here heard it. I didn't hear it with my ears. I heard it with my heart. I felt it. The truth resonates. And the quote of, if I want to be free, I've got to be me, not the me you think I should be, not the me my parents or society thinks I should be. But if I want to be free, I've got to be me. So I better know who me is. I cried. I had no idea who I was, and that terrified me. And I think right now we're in a place in the world where a lot of people are scared. A lot of people are living by fear instead of faith. And yet both of those are invisible, but demand us to believe in one of them. So all the things you're going to hear tonight, it might be totally new to you. It might seem so far-fetched. But if you are willing to believe in fear, which is also invisible, then I just invite you to let's move that on to the polar opposite. That will come through awareness, understanding, and of course, application. And that's what I did very, very well. And I will pride myself in that. I made a decision I was going to be Bob Proctor's #1 in the whole world. And within a very short space of time, I achieved that. I went from £4.20 to earning my first million in 3 years. Now I've lost count, maybe eight and a half years in, I've done tens of millions in business. Yeah, the girl that had £4.20, I can't count very well, but I know how to earn it because Bob taught me. And it all comes through service. It all comes from love. That's why me and Bob connected so much. We became the greatest of friends. We became so close. He was texting me every day. I would spend time in his office, in his home. He would take me on his jet and we'd travel and we'd go and do seminars. Oh my goodness. I am so blessed to have had the opportunities that I've had. I always keep a little picture of him on my desk, as you can see. And I have a gold card here that he signed, and that's very precious to me. And I have many things of Bob, which is so wonderful. We had a very unique relationship. He knows that, I know that. We always talk about our special frequency. Even today, as I did my gratitude, it was a letter to Bob. And when he passed, it was not fun. It was tough. I kind of knew it was happening before most people because we were so close. But when he passed, I didn't write a goodbye letter. I wrote a hello letter. And we have now started this beautiful communication. I feel him every day, and I know he is here tonight. In fact, tonight is the first time I'm wearing his cufflinks. This was a gift that Brian, his son, gave to me when he passed. And it was funny, I was trying to put them on here before the call, and could I get these on? And I was laughing because I can still see his fingerprints on them. And then I didn't want to touch them. But how precious is that? These were his favorite pair. And I just know that these are full with incredible energy here tonight. So I'm not going to talk anymore. We're going to bring on Bob. He's going to give you a full teaching session. He created this for me, and I wanted to share it with you. I'm going to make Bob work tonight. And you know what? He wouldn't want to be doing anything else on his birthday. So after this, I want you to stay around. I'm going to come back. I'm going to share some points. And I also have two very exciting things to tell you, hot off the press. So please do stay around. Keep commenting in the chat box. I'll keep an eye on that. But stay to the end, because I'm coming back with two incredible things to share with you that you will not want to miss. All right? So sit back, enjoy, and I'm going to let Bob Proctor do what he loves the most. And all I can say is, happy birthday, Bob.
You know, I'm going to share some ideas with you that I've gathered over the past 60 years. That's a long time. And over 60 years, you'll learn quite a bit. Now, here's something I have learned. I have learned that you as an individual, I want you to think of yourself for just a minute. Point to yourself. You can create your own economy. This is not some pipe dream. This is not some wish. You can literally create your own economy. It has nothing to do with what the government's doing or what the market's doing. It has to do with what you're doing, with what you're thinking. You know, we have one life, so far as we know, and it's about lifestyle. Our life really is about contribution. We get back what we put out. It's about how we spend our days. The truth is, it's all dependent on how we see ourselves, our own self-image. I want to share some information with you about you. Everyone has a story. I want to share my story with you. See, my story started out on October the 21st, 1961. Now, I was 26 years old. Here just a few days ago, I was 87 years old. That's a long ways between those 2 points. And you know, my mindset has given me a life that most people just simply dream of. Mindset will do the same for you. As a matter of fact, the secret is in your mindset. I don't know if you saw The Secret, but I was in a movie, The Secret, that went viral. It was all over the world. 500 million people watched it. I want to share something about that with you. This man, Leland Val Vanderwall, is a man that I met way back in the 60s, and he taught me some things about you and me and life in general that not many people learn. He was a very wise man. He's gone now, God bless him, but Leland Val Vanderwall changed my life. You see, I believe in mentors. Leland Val Vanderwall was a mentor. He wasn't my first mentor, but he was a mentor. And he changed my life like night and day. Kim Calvert will change your life. Now, the first mentor I had sat down with me and he wrote an arrow out on a sheet of paper. I want you to pay particular attention to this. Then he dropped 3 letters down beside it, 2 H's and a W, and he said, Bob, let that represent happy, health, and wealth. And then he asked me if I thought he was a very happy guy. I said, he sure seemed happy to me, and he did. He was a great big guy. He was laughing. And he said, have you ever seen me when I was sick? I hadn't admit I hadn't. He said, have you ever seen me when I was broke? I hadn't ever seen that. He said, Bob, you got to be one of the most miserable people I've ever met. Now, I was earning $4,000 a year at the time, but I owed $6,000. See, I owed everybody I saw money. And so it was always debt, trying to pay. I couldn't earn enough to pay all the money I owed. And he asked me, he said, Bob, do you ever read anything? And I said, no, I can't read. No, that wasn't true. I could read. I've since found out I read about as well as most people. I think the average person reads at about a grade 7 level. And that's because they learn to read by the time they're in grade 7, and then they never improve upon the skill from that point on. Well, he said, Bob, I'm going to give you a book. And he said, I want you to pay really close attention to it. As a matter of fact, if you read this book every day for the rest of your life, you'll be able to get anything you want for the rest of your life. Now, I didn't believe that. I didn't believe anybody could have everything they wanted. But I believed he believed it. The more I talked to him, the more I believed he was right. And he caught my attention. And he said, what do you really want? And he had me sit down and write on a card what I really wanted. Now, this was over a few days' discussion. Not all day, every day, but each day for probably a week, I spent some time with him. And everything kept shifting in my mind. You spend 4 or 5 days with Kim Calvert, everything's going to shift in your mind. Well, Ray got me sitting down, and he got me to decide. I said, I want $25,000. Now, I didn't believe I'd get that. That would be like you probably thinking you have $25 million tomorrow. I didn't believe it. I just did not believe it. I didn't believe it would happen at all. But he said, well, write it on the card, and then read the card as often as possible every day. I wanted $25,000. Now, you see, years later, looking back at this, I'll tell you how the card impacted me. Up until I did that with the card, all I thought about was debt, because that's all I was getting. I was getting feedback from everybody. Where's the money? When I started to read this card, I started to think of earning money. And I heard somebody say there's good money cleaning floors. I said, I'm not proud, I'll clean floors. I got one office to clean. I got $30 a month for washing the floor twice a month. Then I got another office to clean. Kirby's Construction, I remember. $65. Now I'm up to $95 a month. Do you know, by the end of that year, my income was at $12,500 a month. I just kept getting another office to clean. That annualizes to $175,000. So I went from $4,000 to $175,000 in a year. The change was so dramatic, I had a hard time believing it. Now look it. I started to read this every day. I'm still reading it. The book has fallen apart. I got a big elastic around it to hold it together. Things started to change. And did they ever change? From 4,000, it went to 175,000. Then it went over $1 million. Do you know, in under 5 years, I was cleaning offices in Toronto, Montreal, Boston, Cleveland, Atlanta, and London, England. Everything in my world was changing dramatically. It has never stopped changing. Never stopped. But one thing did change. I was living in England. I went there and opened an office because, I don't know, I always wanted to live in England. And so I thought I'll go there and open an office, which I did. I was very irresponsible. I was earning all this money, I was throwing it all over the place. You see, I wasn't really in tune with the money. I didn't understand what I was doing. I would go into the Playboy on Park Lane. It was just a little north of the London Hilton. Of course, it's been gone for years. I would go in there and play roulette, and I didn't care if I lost the money because I knew where to find it. But one day I stopped and thought, I'm not being very responsible. And I thought, how did this happen to me? I mean, I had nothing, and all of a sudden I had considerable amount. And I couldn't figure out how it happened. I'd been raised to believe if you're going to earn a lot of money, you've got to be really smart. I knew I wasn't very smart, but I was earning a lot of money. I was raised to believe if you don't go to school, you'll never get a good job. I didn't have a good job. I owned the whole company. I had 2 months high school. I didn't have any high school education virtually at all. I had no business experience. But everything in my life kept changing. And one day I realized that I better find out why I changed. And I started to study. I would listen to this record every day. I'd listen to this record. It was 40 Minutes, the Best Philosophy You'll Ever Hear. I would recommend you go online and buy it. The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. Earl Nightingale was a radio broadcaster, and he was a great radio broadcaster. He retired at the age of 30, and his whole life changed. It took me 9.5 years to figure out why I changed. And when I figured it out, all I wanted to do was teach it. And that's all I've done. There's the two men that really instrumental in changing my life. The one on the left is Earl Nightingale. He's the one that recorded this program. And the one on the right had a direct mail business, and he started to sell the record. And the two of them became partners, and they formed the Nightingale-Conant Corporation. I was listening to their records all the time. One day, in 1966, I was holding a sales meeting with one of the records, and I said, you know, I would really love to meet him, meaning Earl Nightingale. And somebody said, no, you wouldn't. If you'd like to meet him, you'd go and meet him. I thought, you know something, he's right. I phoned, and I got an appointment. And I went and I met Earl Nightingale. That was in 1966. 1968, I was their vice president of sales. My life was changing so dramatically. Everything changed. And I began teaching this information, and I began teaching it all over the world. Kim Calvert is one of the greatest students I've ever had. She's also one of the greatest teachers. And this is something that she taught me. This deals strictly between you and yourself. No one else is involved. I remember the first time I heard her say that to somebody, and I thought, damn, she's right. This deal is strictly between you and yourself. No one else is involved. I thought she really understands this, and she really did. You see, what you've really got to begin to do is think. You really got to think. If you want to change your life, if you want to change your life dramatically, you've got to learn to think. Kim Calvert's life's tools are something that will change your life like night and day. Now, there's two things that will help you create a great life. One, you got to know where you are. Number two, you got to know where you're going. Now, that's so simple and so obvious, you have to ask yourself, why are so many people stuck? Well, the first thing you'd say, well, they probably don't have a goal. And that may be a truth. But I don't think that's the real answer. I think the answer is over here. It's where they are. They don't really know where they are. They think they know where they are, but they really don't. You see, they're being controlled by a paradigm. Now, I'm not going to take a lot of time teaching you about paradigms because Kim Calvert knows probably more about them than I do now. She made such an awesome change in her paradigm. Paradigms control our life, though, to an enormous degree. And Kim Calvert is a master at teaching people how to change paradigms. And change paradigms, you'll change your life. Absolutely no question about it. Now think of this for a moment. Targets are good for the soul. They are, yours and mine. When we set a goal, what we're doing is setting a target. Goals are phenomenal. Goals will change our life. Remember I said about the $25,000 in the goal card? Changed my life. You know something? It'll change your life too. Most people, though, are extras in their own movie. They don't have a goal. You know, Shakespeare put it very well one time. He said, all the world's a stage. We're all actors in it. Well, most people are actors. They're extras in their own movie. And they make somebody else the star. What we've got to do is sit and ask ourselves, what do I really want? What do I really want? You answer that question, Kim will show you how to get it. That's what this series of seminars is really all about. Now look, when you go to decide on what you want, I'm going to tell you what not to do. Quit thinking in reverse. Quit looking at what you've done. Most people set goals, they're repeat performance. You ask them what they want, they say, oh, I don't know, maybe they'll get a car. Same kind of a car they've already got. Now say, how long you had that car? I don't know, 4 or 5 years. They've known for 4 or 5 years how to get a car like that. That is not a goal. See, a goal is something that helps you grow, not stay where you are. When people grow out of that dimension, they go into this and they go for what they think they can do. If Harry gives me the money, and if she'll do this, and if they'll do that, then maybe we could make this work. That's not how you do it. Listen, you are God's highest form of creation. I want you to know that there's nothing on this planet that will equal you. Look at your hand. Just put your hand around your wrist. Just look at the part here that's waving. Do you know that there's enough power, there's enough potential energy in this hand to light up a huge building for nearly a week? There's about 11 million kilowatt hours per pound potential energy locked up in the electrons in the atoms of our body. We are walking, living dynamos. Most people don't know that. What we've got to learn to do is stretch. Really get out there. Look at. Do you know that all the other little creatures on the planet are completely at home in their environment? They blend in. You and I are totally disoriented in our environment. Totally disoriented. And that is because we've been given the ability to create our own environment. Now think of that for a moment. Yeah, you got to stretch. You're going to make up your mind you're going to stretch. You're going to get out there, you're going to really make things happen. Life will never be the same again. This program is going to take you to where you really want to go. Take you up to your C-type goal. This is where you create. You create the life you want. You're stretching, you're going for it. And you're going to get it. The C-type goal, that's what you really want. You're not settling. It's what you want. See, but I don't know how to do it. You don't have to know how to do it. Ed Hillary didn't know how to get to the top of Mount Everest when he started out, and nobody could help him because nobody had ever been there. The Wright brothers didn't know how to get a plane in the air, but they got in the air. Edison didn't know how to illuminate the world, but he did. You don't have to know how. You only have to know that you will. You make up your mind you're going to do it. Do you know that we're only limited by weakness of attention and poverty of imagination? Get that imagination going. Stretch your imagination. Kim Calvert has built a company. She built 2 or 3 companies, international companies, earning millions of dollars a year. That's what I want to suggest you do. And you can do it. Now let this represent you. You're a walking, living dynamo. There's energy just flowing from you. You're a massive, pure living energy like everything. You function on frequencies, and you can experience greatness in your life. You can literally experience greatness in your life. There's greatness locked up in you. Make up your mind you're going to do it. Now look at this for a moment. Albert Einstein, I think he was considered probably one of the wisest men that ever lived. He said the intuitive mind is a sacred gift. The rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. It's such a shame. Use these mental faculties to create the world you want you and your family to live in. Never settle. Now, I'm going to run over these faculties. I want you to think of them. Perception, the will. Look at it. Memory, intuition, reason, and of course, imagination. Now, all of these faculties are meant to help you build a beautiful life. Let's go back and take them one at a time. Perception. I want you to think of the number of times that you've let conditions or circumstance upset you. Conditions and circumstance have never controlled you. If you will change your perception of whatever conditions and circumstance appear to be a problem, they won't be a problem anymore. See, perception enables you to shift everything you see in life. If you have a problem of any kind, write the problem on a piece of paper. Put the problem in the center of the table, sit back and look at it. And say, now, is that problem on the paper or is it in me? Get it back on the paper. Get it out of yourself. Then sit and look at it. Then go sit on the other side of the table and look at it and say, how would Proctor look at this? And go sit in another part of the table. Say, how would Kim look at this? You see, anybody can do this. If they use perception, it's a mental faculty. It's one of our higher faculties. It's what separates us from all of the rest of the animal kingdom. And then you've been gifted with the will. Do you know when Dr. Wernher von Braun was asked by President John Kennedy, what would it take to build a rocket that will carry a person to the moon and bring him back safely to Earth? He answered him in a few words, the will to do it. The will. That's what the will does. Will is a mental faculty that holds one idea on the screen of the mind to the exclusion of all outside distractions. The will gives you the ability to focus. All the great golfers, they all have it, the ability to focus. See, focus, when energy flows into your consciousness, focus is like sending a laser beam out. Think of this for a moment. I want you to imagine that there's a big sign on the opposite wall where I'm sitting that has writing on it. But the room is in darkness and I can't see it. There's a message on that wall. So I take and I light a candle. I light a candle. Now the candle does light the room. And I can see that there's a sign there, but I can't read what's on it. Now let's say I take the same candle power and I put it in a flashlight and I aim the flashlight. Now I can read the sign and none of the light is wasted around here. That's called focus. And that's what the will does. When you focus, you put more energy on a job. You compound the energy that you're given mentally to the job. See, this is a mind game we're talking about. That's what it's all about. Kim's going to show you how to use the mind. Kim and the people she works with, she got a great team of people. Do you know there's no such thing as a bad memory? There's no such thing as a bad memory. I was doing a seminar one time here in Canada. There was a man, Abdullah, from the Saudi Arabia come over. He was a psychiatrist, but he was teaching people to memorize the Quran. Now, there was a basketball player in San Francisco many years ago, Jerry Lucas. He was teaching people to memorize the Bible. Most people couldn't even conceive of doing that. They were teaching them to do it. There's no such thing as a bad memory. I asked Harry Lorraine one time, he's got the best trained memory in the world. I said, Harry, how long do you remember something? And he smiled and he said, till I want to forget it. I thought, what a great answer. And we have intuition. I have a very, very sensitive, highly evolved intuition. I've been training it for 30 years. Intuition is when you pick up energy, pick up another person's energy. It doesn't even matter where they are. You pick up their energy and you translate it in your mind. When you walk up to another person, there's an energy field around them. You can pick it up, you can feel it. You can read what's going on in the other person's mind. Now you may be sitting there and say, oh, you couldn't do that. Well, that's okay. If that's what you believe, then that's what it'll be. But the truth is you can. Intuition is one of God's greatest gifts to us. Without question. Then we have reason. Reason gives us the ability to choose, which is the greatest choice. We're given the ability to choose. We can think whatever we want. Viktor Frankl, a Viennese psychiatrist who spent the war years in a concentration camp, said no one could cause him to think something he didn't want to think. He had reason in his mind. And last but not least, imagination. Napoleon Hill said the imagination is the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force the world's ever known. He's right. Do you know your imagination will take you anywhere? When you get into this properly, I mean really studying this, you're going to find that you can perform magic with your imagination. I said earlier, Kim Calvert was one of the greatest consultants we've got. She's probably one of the greatest teachers I know. And she hasn't been at it that long, 4 or 5 years. But she got into this in such depth, so fast, and she was ready. Has she ever changed? And she is helping millions of people all over the world. That's all I ever wanted to do. When I figured out why I changed, I made up my mind I was going to spend the rest of my life helping other people do the same thing. And that's where the imagination comes in. The imagination will take you anywhere. It's a beautiful thing to know. Now I'm going to share with you the most valuable idea I've learned from studying this book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, every day for 60 years. Just one idea from this chapter has been responsible for me earning millions of dollars, and it will for you as well. Now, this is a photocopy of a page out of this book. It's from the first page in the chapter on decision. He says, analysis of several hundred people who had accumulated fortunes well beyond the $1 million mark disclosed the fact that every one of them had the habit of reaching decisions promptly and of changing those decisions slowly if and when they were changed. People who failed to accumulate money, without exception, have the habit of reaching decisions, if at all, very slowly and changing these decisions quickly and often. This is very, very important. Now, here's the two men. Andrew Carnegie got Napoleon Hill to write this book. Andrew Carnegie was the wealthiest man in the world in 1908. Napoleon Hill was a young reporter for a magazine. The magazine decided they were going to write an article on wealthy people. Hill lucked out. He got the opportunity for a 3-hour interview with Andrew Carnegie. Now, what Hill didn't understand is that although he was interviewing Carnegie, Carnegie was interviewing him. In fact, Carnegie had interviewed over 200 people. He was looking for a specific person. See, he was the wealthiest man in the world in 1908. But stop and think of who was alive in 1908. Henry Ford, Edison, real heavyweights. He said he thought it was an absolute crime that people like himself and Henry Ford and Thomas Edison were going to their grave with all the knowledge they had locked up in their bones. He said someone should write the laws of achievement so that anyone can do what they've done. You see, they were all flat broke at one time. Andrew Carnegie immigrated from Scotland with his parents when he was just a boy to the East Coast of the United States. And he had nothing. And yet he became the wealthiest man in the world. Now think, really think. At the end of the 3 hours, Carnegie said to Hill, this interview isn't ending, Napoleon. It's just beginning. I want you to come home with me. And he took him home. Now, Hill said it was a good thing he took him home because he didn't have enough money to rent a hotel room. And so he spent 3 days telling Napoleon Hill all the laws of achievement, how anyone can become wealthy. Napoleon Hill went out and he wrote 8 books, The Laws of Achievement. I have those books behind me in my library. Then he took and he wrote this book from those books. This is like a condensed version of the 8 books, Think and Grow Rich. That book changed my life. Carnegie gave Hill 1 minute to answer a question. And this is the question. Napoleon, would you dedicate the rest of your life to an idea for which you may receive no material compensation for at least 20 years? In 29 seconds, Hill said he would do it. 29 seconds. See, I guess if you had spent 3 days, you'd think this man's not going to ask me something that's not just. So he said he would. He says, no, Napoleon, you're taking on a big job. You're going out, you're going to spend the first 20 years of your life just doing research. I'm not going to subsidize you, but I will give you letters of introduction to some of the most prestigious people in the world. And Hill started interviewing these people. And that's how he wrote the Laws of Achievement. And it was all recorded. It's phenomenal. But he said, long before you finish that, he said, everything in you is going to want to quit, Napoleon. If you make up your mind that you're going to start studying with Kim, halfway through you're going to want to quit. Because you're changing the paradigm. It's not an easy thing to do. So he says, I'm going to give you an affirmation. And I want you to memorize this. This you're going to be talking to yourself. I want you to look in the mirror. Say, Andrew Carnegie, I'm not only going to equal your achievements in life, but I'm going to challenge you at the post and pass you at the grandstand. Andrew Carnegie, I'm not only going to equal your achievements in life, but I'm going to challenge you at the post and pass you at the grandstand. Now, here's a guy that had nothing. He said he was glad that he took him home with him because he didn't have enough money to rent a hotel room. And now he's saying that he's going to surpass the wealthiest man in the world. Well, when Carnegie read that to him, Hill threw his pencil on the floor. He says, you know darn well that's not going to happen. He said, I know it's not, Napoleon, unless and until you sink that idea in your subconscious mind. That is the key. You got to repeat that over and over in your subconscious mind till it starts to control you. I'm going to tell you something. In all the research I've done the last 60 years, Andrew Carnegie created something like 50 millionaires. Napoleon Hill has made millions of millionaires. And Kim and I are two of those millionaires. Now look at. Here's another example. There's John Kennedy with Dr. Wernher von Braun, father of the space program. He asked him a question. He asked a good doctor, he said, what would it take to build a rocket that'll carry a person to the moon and bring back safely to Earth? And in just 10 seconds, he said the will to do it. See, these people that's successful, they make decisions like that because they understand how to do it. Now look at. Let these lines represent levels of vibration. Each level of vibration is referred to a frequency. Every frequency is connected to the one above and the one below. Now, if you carry this far enough, you're going to realize that everything in this universe is connected. It's all energy. That's all it is just energy. And it's all connected. Now, stay with me. I don't want to lose you here. Let's suppose you let that represent my phone, MP. Over here, you let this represent your phone, YP. If I take my phone and I dial your number, bingo, like that, our phones are connected. Now, you know that's true. That's because we're both on the same frequency. And when we get on the same frequency, it doesn't matter where you are. We're together. You could be in Yokohama and another in Buenos Aires, but you're together. That's how the phone system works. And we seem to have basic understanding of this when it comes to using phones. However, when it comes to life, we get lost. I'm going to show you something here about making a decision. You'll understand why successful people all make decisions fast. They don't take a long time. Bingo. Let these lines represent levels of vibration, and we'll refer to them as frequencies. We think on frequencies. So let these puffy clouds represent our thoughts. Now, the one point all great leaders agreed on is that we become what we think about. It's what we think about that ultimately turns out the results we get. Now, because we are spiritual beings, and because spirit's always for expansion and fuller expression, we're never satisfied with that. We want to go after something bigger. But this is where we lose, because we have not been taught how to make decisions. The successful people know how to make decisions. You say, I'm going there as soon as I get the money. I'm going there as soon as the kids are out of school. As soon as, that's the wrong way to look at it. Pretty soon the decision dies, and it isn't too long until the goal dies. Why? What's really wrong here? Here's what's wrong. You're thinking here on this frequency. But what you want in life, blow it up, is up here on this frequency. See, what you think is on the lower frequency. What you want is on the higher frequency. Your mind and thoughts must operate on the same frequency as your goal. Never thought of that. Well, think about it. When you make a committed decision, that's what these pros do. That's what Kennedy was talking about. Look at, you think and act like the person you want to become when you say, I want to go there. And you begin thinking on that frequency. You don't stay down here. That's like listening to an AM frequency on the radio and wondering why you're not getting FM music. It doesn't work. You got to get on the FM frequency. Do you want to get on the frequency of the good you desire? Go there. You can do that. That's what your imagination's for. Make a committed decision. Think and act like the person you want to become. Want is the only prerequisite for making a decision. That's the only prerequisite for making a decision. Do you want it? Look around the room you're in. Everything in that room you don't need. You got it because you wanted it. Everything in your house, you don't need it, you got it because you wanted it. When you want to really improve your life, you'll make the decision to do it. When you want to live like I'm talking about, when you want to live like Kim's talking about, this is what you're going to pay attention to. This is also why Werner von Braun made the decision so fast. He understood the will to do it. And that's all you need. That's all you need. Now, I'm going to tell you something about money that most people never learn. There's only 3 income earning strategies, M1, M2, and M3. Now, M1, not a good strategy. If you're going to teach your children how to earn money, definitely go to M3. See, M1 is the worst strategy. It's used by 96% of the population, and they're always broke. That is because they're trading their time for money. Not a good thing to do. Trading time for money. They lose. M2 is a good strategy, but it's only used by 3% of the population, and for a very good reason. That's where you invest money to have money. Most people don't have any money to invest. M3 is a strategy I stumbled on way back in the early 60s. It changed my life and ultimately the lives of millions of people. This is where 1% of the population earns 96% of all the money that's being earned. It's almost unbelievable. This is where you multiply your time by setting up multiple sources of income. I want you to remember that. You multiply your time by setting up multiple sources of income. Okay? Kim Calvert's Financial Genius will show you how to turn your annual income into a monthly income. This woman has got it. She really understands it. This can be accomplished by having multiple sources of income. As Kim explains, wealthy people have always had multiple sources of income. I've heard her one time saying, you go right back to the ancient Babylonians. way back in biblical times. They all had multiple sources of income. Now pay attention here for a moment. Our world is changing, and it's changing very rapidly. I mean, it's changing very rapidly. You can have business all over the world through Kim Calvert's global network. Look at that. Multiple sources of income. She can teach you how to earn money when you're sleeping. I know you think, oh, nobody can do that. She can. Do not doubt this woman. I'm going to tell you, she's not very big, but she's very powerful. She is one of the wisest minds that I've ever met. Pay attention to her. Look at, just keep setting up MSIs, multiple sources of income. Now look at, you'll say, well, are they all the same size? No, some will earn more than others. But I'll tell you something, they all have one thing in common. They all flow into your bank. Not Kim's, not mine, your bank. And it doesn't matter where in the world it comes from. And it just keeps adding up. Why? Because there's multiple sources of income. What a phenomenal concept. If you do just once what others say you can't do, you'll never pay attention to their limitations again. Do just once what other people say you can't do, and you will never pay attention to their limitations again. I want to thank Kim for inviting me into her program. I hope I've helped you. What I've said has helped millions of people so far. But hearing it isn't good enough. You got to live it. You got to act it. Kim, thank you. C'est la vie.
All right, what a powerful session there from Bob. So many incredible nuggets. I'm sure you took so many away. Let me know in the chat box, what was your biggest takeaway? What was that one thing that you heard that really made a deep impression? You know, just as I sit here, just like you watching this, I am so proud. And I feel good now. You know, I never used to be able to take praise. That was one of the big things that Bob taught me, was to be able to accept. Because if you cannot accept the praise, you're rejecting so many other things in your life. And I'm so grateful for the words that he spoke, the endorsements that he gave, but most importantly, he was talking to you, because I know you want more in your life. And that was one of the very last recordings that Bob ever made. So that is very, very, very powerful. And I'm so honored. And I just say thank you, Bob, because I know you're here and I know that you guys have felt so much from that. Now, let's talk about some of the points. I'm not going to keep you here very long this evening, but I did say I've got two very exciting things to share with you, which I absolutely will. And I think after listening to this, it makes it even more important that you stay glued to your screen. Some of the things that the big takeaways for me were just even watching. I've seen this many times, but I love how he shares how he studied under Earl Nightingale. Earl Nightingale was Bob's mentor. And he didn't even mention that one thing about having a mentor, but you can see through that how powerful having a mentor was to Bob. And he always talked about it. He always mentioned it. And I want you to ask yourself, who is your mentor? Who is your guide? Who is breaking down this scientific process and helping you implement it in your specific situation? Because that's really what it takes. As I said at the start of this call, so many of us fall into the trap of buying the books. Like, who here has Think and Grow Rich? Right? I bet you do. Are you rich yet? Now, rich isn't always about money. Money is a great instrument and tool. It gives you options, it gives you choices. But I want you to live richly in your life, in your relationship, in every area, because I remember being picked up. It was the best story. Bob took me to Vegas to do an event, and he was hungry, and he sent me down to a burger joint, which was really, really weird and interesting all at the same time. And he just really wanted some chips, and I went down to get him the chips. And then he pulled up in his limousine, which was really awkward and weird because everybody else is coming out with their burgers and their chips, and he opens the door and there's Bob Proctor, he'll come onto the limousine. And as I sat in that limousine and Bob's eating his chips, like I'm just like, he eats chips. I mean, I don't know why I thought he wouldn't, but he was talking to me, and even just in that limo, he was sharing so many valuable lessons. And one of them was, he says, Kim, do you know why you do so well? Because you live life. It is the livingness of life in which you truly become rich. And in my work and what I do in my Ignite program with my high elite clients, we have a big focus on experiences in living life. Yes, I teach people how to create financial freedom. My goodness, even just last week, some of our clients were seeing 7 figures in 90 days. Other people had tripled their income. Other people finally left their corporate job of 6 figures and were now earning nearly 80,000 in 90 days in starting their business. But you know what the greatest gift for that person was? They get to take the summer off. Do you know why? Because they've now decided to be their own boss. They want to spend time with their children. So the money is absolutely important, but money is a servant and you are the master. And this is what we teach. These are the rich lessons. And when Bob said to me, it's the livingness in it, I was delighted because I love living. But you know what? You need money to do that. But you need a great purpose. And he mentioned the goal cards. And my goodness, I have all of my goal cards here from the beginning of time. I started out listening to something just like this. I took the pen, I wrote the card, I had nothing in the bank account, but I knew exactly what I wanted. And I keep all of these cards. In fact, I have all of my journals here. There's plenty more up in the bookcase behind me. But these are the very journals of everything that I wrote. Every single thing. It says here in the front of this one, in order to write about your life, you must first live it. How true is that? These are filled with everything that Bob taught me on what to do, what to write, even what he put in my goal card. And I want to share it with you. Because he mentioned that, you know, Napoleon Hill had a mentor, Bob Proctor's had a mentor. Bob was my mentor. This has not traveled very far. There's no Chinese whispers. There's nothing to miss here. Now, I just want you to ask one question. What if you could spend a few days with me where I'm not just teaching you and regurgitating information and leaving you to kind of fill in the blanks, but what if I was to actually take you step by step through every single paradigm shift? And trust me, there's been a few. What if I took you through every single paradigm shift that I physically actually went through? Because this is the great thing, and what Bob always taught me. Only go to others who have demonstrated in results that they know what they're talking about. Now, he admitted, I'm not very big. I'm not, but I am very powerful. He always called me the giant in a little body. And I know that. I feel that. And I always believe that when the student is ready, the teacher arrives. And I have something coming up very soon. We are spending this whole month celebrating Bob Proctor. And I got to thinking, going, do you know what? Everyone's talking about, you know, you need to change your mindset. You need to upgrade your money mindset. You need to change your paradigm. But you know what I find? Everybody's sitting at the behind a computer going, yeah, but how do you do that? What does that mean? And then you start to have questions and you start to doubt yourself because ultimately you haven't changed your self-image. You don't trust in yourself. And you know, we spend so much time doubting ourselves, or here's a good one. How many times do you tell yourself you're going to do something and you don't do it? Does anybody procrastinate in here that can hear me? I know you do. And procrastination means you're not in the habit of making decisions. That's the opposite of decision making. And when you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, you know what you're doing? You're breaking your integrity with yourself. So that's why then you doubt yourself. So I've went through so many paradigm shifts to be able to now live in my dream home, to drive my dream car. I have multiple homes, I have multiple businesses. I'm able to help my family. I'm able to help my friends. I'm able to build companies. In fact, I was talking to a client today and I've helped him turn a £130 million company into a £300 million company in 1 year. Now you might be sitting there going, whoa, okay, well, no, I'm not in the millions yet. Neither was I. I have £4.20. So I don't care if you want 20 grand, you want 100,000, you want 100 million, you want a billion. The science is the same. Now, Bob taught so many great things, and I'm not going to even attempt to go through these points tonight, because if anybody knows me, I like to teach, and you could be here for another few hours. But he started out with results, and results always are the direct reflection of how you think. You have a mind, and your mind is programmed. And whatever way your mind is programmed is going to be reflected in your results. So tonight, whether your results are good or not good, doesn't matter. Sit back and actually on a piece of paper, write down income, finance, health, relationships, all of those things, and actually ask yourself, what are my results telling me? Results leave clues. And if you're not happy with your results, here's the good news, you can change them. But it takes paradigm shifts. And Bob said, I'm one of the best people to change paradigms, to teach you how to do it. That's my gift. I'm so blessed that I know I've been chosen to show up in this world and waking people up one thought at a time. I know that there are homesick souls just waiting to hear this information, because I know deep down inside of you, whilst you might have limiting beliefs, whilst you might have evidence of why it all can't happen, I still know there's a little part of you thinking, but I would love to. And I know that because you wouldn't even be having the internal conversations if there wasn't the polar opposite that I can't. And that kind of makes sense. So what I have been doing is, I think the best tribute to Bob Proctor is to put on an event called the Tribute, where I am going to break down, be very vulnerable, be very transparent, and actually share with you the highs, the lows, the tears, the laughs, what I wrote, what Bob told me to do. He talked about money. Bob gave me an exact money script, which I took and I implemented, because I'm a great implementer. All of this information is useless. Reading the book Think and Grow Rich is useless if you do not know how to ingrain it and internalize it into your subconscious mind. That's my gift. That's my gift to you, but you've got to make a decision. Now, something else he talked about was the mind. He said it's a mind game. Oh, it absolutely is. In fact, I think life is a game. Doesn't that sound more fun? Life is just one big game. And when you start to learn how to play it, and you have the playbook, you can create anything you want. Now, I say that because I believe it in every single cell of my body, because I've done it. I do demonstrate in results. I have the things, the money, but that's all stuff. Do you know what I really have? Inner love, inner peace, inner fulfillment, energy, beautiful partner, beautiful team, beautiful friends, wonderful, the best clients in the world. I love my life because I once made a decision. And what did he say the prerequisite was? You want it. What is it that you want? Because I know it, like literally, I know exactly how to show you to get it. And it's all written in these books. So it's a mind game. It's all about you. It's a you and you game, but you need someone to help you. You need someone to guide you. I needed someone to guide me. There's no way I was going to do it by myself. And I love what he said. Do just once what other people say you can't do, and you'll never listen to the limitations again. I absolutely live by that. because I always heard you can't. I always heard it wasn't possible. I was always told, Kim, get out of your bubble, which was a common phrase from my mom. School teachers, Kim, stop, get out of your imagination, focus, get to work. I've always known as a child, and you know what, I don't think I'm the only person. I don't think I am some special person that just, you know, I'm just like you. I'd say there's been moments in your life where you've really felt your intuition. You've really felt like, you know, there's something greater, there's a higher power, whatever you call that, whether you call it God, universe, source, energy, it's oneness. And the closer that you get to the source of supply, the greater riches that you will have in your life. That's why we have this source. It's why we build every single day more things to help you in the implementation. Because we live in a world that is information, information, information. And we're trying to put all this stuff in. Kids go to school, jam the books in, jam the study in. What we need to be doing is bringing more of that infinite potential out. That's what I'm good at. That's what I can help you, because I know what's in there. The fact that you have a pulse, the fact that you have a heartbeat right now, that proves it. So what I have decided to do is I am putting on a very exclusive event at the end of this month on the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of July. And I'm going to bring you to the inside, and I'm going to spend 3 days breaking down, not going the usual way of just teaching you a seminar, but I'm actually going to show you step by step every single thing that I thought, everything that I felt, everything that I did. Because I think you're looking for someone who actually has got the results, who's actually knows what they're talking about. And I'm the sort of person where I keep everything, okay? I wouldn't call myself a hoarder, but when it comes to my growth, I have pictures, I have blueprints, I have every piece of paper I've ever written on. I have it all. And my goodness, am I glad that I write in these books. In fact, this is why we brought out our own books. In fact, if you want to buy one of our gratitude logs or our idea logs or success books, you can get them here inside the source. I've kept everything, because when you lift up a pen and you decide, this is what I want, do you realize the power of what you're writing? The power of the pen, as I call it. Everything that you desire, if you can see it in your mind, you will hold it in your hand. That's what the vibration in the logo of our company means. That's the voice. That's the actual vibration of that quote. And across 3 days in this tribute event to Bob, I'm not going to be here with you all day, every day, because you've got things to do. You've got life to live. But 2 sessions a day across these 3 days, we're going to break down the science, but also the application. Now, I have structured this in such a way because I'm a geek when it comes to this. I am a scientist when it comes to this. I want everyone to get it. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take you first and foremost through the self shift. How do you get out of your own way? Because I hear that all the time. I know it's me, Kim, I'm in my own way. And it's become a bit of a quote rather than actually recognizing that and knowing how to get out of your own way. So I'm going to take you through the mind shift. Then I'm going to bring Bob back and he's going to share something else with you, but I'm going to keep that a secret. Day 2 then is when I'm going to teach you all about the mind. I'm going to teach you exactly the shifts, the paradigm shifts that I made to create the life that I'm living right now. Now, I know things that nobody else can teach you. And I don't say that to put anybody else down. I say it because when I learned from Bob, it wasn't always from the programs and the seminars. It was from being in his office. It was from traveling with him. It was from the conversations that we had. So I have a very unique standpoint. Me and him would talk nearly every day, sharing ideas, being really creative. I was so privileged in that way, and I never take that for granted. That's why I believe so much this is what I need to give to you. So I'm going to take you right down through the mind, through your mind, so you can understand it. We talked about those frequencies. See, the truth is everything you want is already here, but it's in the non-visible. And I know how to get you onto the frequency of the reality that you want. And then you cannot help but create that reality. This is not philosophy, it's physics. Albert Einstein. Now just tell me in the chat box, what if you spent 3 days with someone that knows what they're talking about, can show you how to make these things happen in your life? Would that be beneficial for you? I know it would. Then you're going to hear some wins from my clients, because my clients are winning. And they are always wanting other people to hear this, because there are lots of different things out on the internet these days. You don't need me to tell you that. So I want to uncover, pull the curtains back and actually go, here is what we do. Here is how we do it. Here's your step-by-step plan. And here's how other people have done it. Then on the third day, it's all about results. I'm going to show you how I manifested not only a Ferrari, but I manifested a dream home. The home that I'm living in right now, you wouldn't actually believe it until you really hear the full story. But I drew this house out in every detail. Same with the car. I drew everything out in so much detail. And then Bob showed me the exact steps of how to integrate that in my subconscious mind, the exact steps to then action in my business. And you don't need a business, by the way, to take, growth from this. This is the beautiful thing. It works for anybody, anywhere, at any time. Age, gender, does not matter. And now I live in this home, and when we find this home, and I'll not spoil the story, but this home was actually built the same year I drew it. And it's sometimes really kind of almost like, wow, it even blows my mind. Do you want a dream home? Do you want to create something for your family? I used to live in a house where there was nothing. It was so small. There was no back garden. I have 2 little Jack Russells, and I used to write in my gratitude and say to them, I promise you, you're going to have a big garden someday. Now I've got 5 acres of land. I travel pretty much every month. I've been on 8 trips this year already. And I'm not saying this to impress you, but to impress upon you that if I can do it, so can you. I am so adamant about that. How amazing is that? Now, we're going to drop the link if you're interested in attending this event. This is the tribute. What I'm doing in this special event across these 3 days is I'm not only going to give you the theory, but I'm also going to give you the application. And I'm also going to get you to do some questions and do some work with me, because this is what is really missing, is that kind of feedback. That's what makes me such a great mentor. And I'm going to be showing you a pathway that can start to peel back those paradigms, actually finally get to the root cause of your results and change it permanently. Because that's what I'm so good at. That's what you need. Now, whether you like me or not really has nothing to do with it. I'm a really nice person, but if nothing else, come and listen to these steps. Now, there's some bonuses, because I was always taught by Bob, always give more than what people pay you. And we have got 3 incredible bonuses for you. Would anybody here like the money script that Bob Proctor gave me that's helped me earn tens of millions, having no background in business, no background in sales, not very good at mathematics, not very good at spelling, all of that stuff? What if I give you from a direct pipeline from Bob's mind through me to you? Well, I'm going to do that for you. Not only am I going to give you the script, I'm going to give you a whole extra teaching around shifting your money paradigms, because that's one of the biggest things that I know you want and you need if you're going to live a life of freedom. Now, the link is already in the chat here inside Zoom. We'll just keep posting that in so it doesn't get lost. I can see everybody going, yes, yes, yes. And we're going to pop it inside the source as well. And if you're watching on YouTube or anywhere else, the link is there. This is 3 days where I'm going to pull back the curtain. I'm going to share everything that Bob shared with me. There is no greater tribute that we could do. Now, the money shift is one bonus. The second bonus is you're going to hear exclusively from Bob Proctor and myself having a really deep conversation around the lessons and the secrets that he taught his son. Bob Proctor is such a close friend of mine. I was speaking to him earlier today. I was speaking to Linda, Bob's wife, and we're all very, very close because we love Bob. but we're also committed to the mission. So I'm going to give you that as a bonus as well. And then there's another very special call where I'm going to invite you on to actually speak with me, ask your questions, and get real-time feedback. That's what is needed. Mentorship is not just watching programs and having content. You probably have a few sitting in your hard drive, right? I want to work with you. I want to hear where you're at. Bob says you need to know where you are and you need to know where you're going. I can help you get going because it's not about you might have goals, but it's where you are that is the key that you need to unlock. That's the beautiful part of this process. That's what I'm going to give you across these 3 days with the bonus day on the next day. So this is an opportunity not to be missed. The link is there. So many of you are already saying yes, yes, yes. And here's the best part. I don't want a fortune for it. I'm going to give you tens and tens and tens of thousands of pounds worth of value. And if you do nothing with it, that's up to you. But I would be clicking the link because this is £47. And you might think, well, what? £47? I mean, I spent way more than that and I sold my car at £4.20. We're doing this because I know it's what you need. And my goal in life is to get this to everybody, not just people who have money, but for everyone. Now, I know everybody listening to me has £47. So I don't even want you to hesitate. I want you to click that link and take action. Because here's the biggest thing that Bob really talked about on that seminar. You've got to make it the habit that you make decisions fast. I love how Andrew Carnegie gave him 1 minute to make a decision. Can you imagine if Napoleon Hill had went 90 seconds? This world would be so different. There would be just, everything would be different. It doesn't even bear thinking about. Who can beat the 29 seconds? Who can make a decision tonight, even if you don't fully understand it, but you felt it? Click that link and join me for 3 days. And I promise you, you will get way more value than £47. Because the truth is, you have the money and you're going to spend the money and you're going to spend the time. Well, I don't want you to spend it. I want you to invest it. I want to bring you into my world here inside the source where I can actively work with you, give you tools. I haven't even talked about all the other bonuses that you get. My daily message. What if you had a message from me every morning to waking up to? Would that give you great intention and great purpose and great focus? He talked about the will and how important focus is. What do you do when you first wake up? Do you lift your phone and go, oh, what's this? Don't do that. I want you to be on your phone, but come to the source. Download our app. If you've registered for this event and you want to register for the tribute, just use the same logins that you did for tonight. Come and join us in here. I want to see your comments after this seminar's over. This is your time. There is no other place, literally, that you can get this information firsthand. And as he said, I was his top student. I still kind of like smile and feel a bit like, oh, Bob said my name. And I love that. I don't ever want to lose that part of me. We work here in Dynamite Lifestyle with 3 core principles: love, integrity, and transparency. And there's never been a better time to need those 3 core principles. We are doing this for you. Now, this is going to happen with or without you, but I want to see you on the inside. I want you to click that link and just once invest £47 into you and gain all the benefits. Now, here's the other thing. You might have heard of Inception. Let me know in the chat box if you know what Inception is. Inception is my favorite 2 days of the year. It is the starting point in which your dreams become a reality. This is a 2-day live in-person seminar. Would anybody like to meet me? Would anybody like a hug? Would anybody like to come into an environment and get out of your normal environment and immerse yourself in this? Well, that's Inception. You also have an opportunity to grab your Inception ticket, because we have that available now. It's happening in September here in the Titanic Museum, exactly where the Titanic was built. I'm going to be on stage to hundreds of people. We're also going to be streaming all over the world. So even if you don't come in person, you can get a streaming ticket and I will give you the tribute for free. Now that is a good deal. Not only can you spend 2 days with me, and it's not just me. Brian Proctor, Bob's son, is also going to be here. He was with us last year and he's coming back. And he's going to be live on stage. You could meet Brian. You can meet myself. You can mix with other like-minded people. I'm going to be, for the people who come live, I'm going to be coming with a workbook about this thick of every single thing that you need to do. I do this every year and it is our biggest event ever. And this year is going to be even bigger. You see, I know the importance of being with people in person. Now, we can't always do that because my goal is to impact the whole world. And I want to be omnipresent, and I'll certainly go as many places as I can. But there's nothing like coming to a live event. And you have an opportunity to do that. Now, if you're not wanting to come to Inception, that's okay. Come to the tribute. Because in those 3 days, it's a very different seminar. These are not two of the same thing. Inception is basically a full-on, I go into every single topic. The tribute, I'm taking you through my story. I'm taking you through my experience. I'm opening up my journals and really getting vulnerable and sharing the moments when I thought, I can't do this. And then the moments that I won, and I won really big. I'm showing you and giving you the money script that has completely changed my life. And I mean completely changed my life. And not just my life, my parents' life, my sister's life, lots of other people that we help across the world. And we do big things that I don't always share because I don't believe that you need to tell everybody everything. But I can tell you now, learning these principles has completely and utterly saved my life, not only changed it. And I want to make it available to you. So the link is here. Your time is now, and we've definitely passed 1 minute of decision making. Do just once what other people think or say that you cannot do. Stop listening to other people. And let me be honest, it's probably the people that you love. It's probably the people that love you the most. When I first got into this, Lindsay rolled her eyes. She thought I was crazy. My mom and dad, I didn't even tell them for 8 to 9 months. I quit nursing. I read off into the sunset. I'm going to become a millionaire. I'm going to change people's lives. I'm going to build a business and blah, blah, blah. And everybody was kind of going, okay, sure you are. Oh dear, she left, yeah. And nobody believed in me. Bob didn't even believe I could do it, but I did it. And that's why I know and why I will never give up in reaching out to you. Because you've been looking for something, you've been searching for something. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. So this is your opportunity. This is an opportunity where you can finally get to the nitty-gritty instead of just listening on a more superficial level. There's not many, and when I say not many, I mean minuscule amounts of people living in this world that actually understand this. And again, that's not putting people down. That's why Bob was so impactful and so powerful. He was the last living legend to really understand the science. That's what I love. I listened to other people on YouTube and it was all like, yay, motivation. And it was great when I was on the treadmill because it got me through my sprints. But it didn't change anything in my life because motivation is short-lived. You do not want motivation. You need inspiration, and that comes from inside. And that's why the most important thing is that you discover who you truly are. That's probably my favorite subject in teaching my mentorship clients. I go really deep into the spiritual laws and understanding of who you really are. Bob said you're God's highest form of creation. That's one of my favorite topics to teach on. I teach like no other teacher in this whole world. I know that for a fact. That's why we get such great results. That's why you've been attracted here. I don't know many of you. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, but the very fact that I've attracted you here tells you everything. So this is without a doubt your time. This is your opportunity. This is your starting point. What I want you to do is get your Inception ticket and we will gift you the tribute. But if you're not ready to step into Inception, it is full on. It is like basically a PhD in the mind. And if you're not ready for that, that's no problem. Come to the tribute. You might be ready after the tribute. This is why we've created tools and offers for people at every level. Because whilst you may not think you're ready, I know you're capable. And as Bob says, you do not need to know how, you just need to know that you will. How beautiful is that? I'm seeing lots of people in the chat. Yeah, it's an absolute bargain. It is indeed. It's pretty crazy to be honest. And you might think, well, why not just do it for free? Because I understand when you get things for free, you don't value it. I want you to put just a tiny bit of skin in the game. Now, if some of you are sitting here tonight and you're like, oh, I've had an epiphany. I can feel this. Maybe you've got tears and you feel, no, I need all of this and you want to talk to us, you can also book a call. If anything in this time that we've spent together has resonated with you so deeply, because that happened to me. I was sitting outside a hospital about to go in and see a patient, and I was just watching a video of Bob that came up, and I sat in my car and I cried my eyes out. I didn't know how I was going to go back in and go to work because I felt Bob. And I know there's people right now, you can feel me. And it's not so much that it's about me. You're feeling and resonating with your own spirit, with your own inner being, with your own higher self, whatever way you want to word that. And if you actually just want to come and work with me right now, I would also book a call. But the most important thing is come and join me for the tribute. What an incredible opportunity this will be. I'm going to tell you so many funny stories that nobody else will be able to tell you. I'm going to share everything. So this is your opportunity. It has been an absolute pleasure, an absolute honor to be here with you tonight. If you come and join us, we will have those bonuses ready for you. The event will start on the 22nd of this month. And the beautiful thing is, if you've come into this masterclass, then you're going to be inside the source. I cannot stress enough. Please make sure you download the Source app. You can get that in the App Store, or if you're Android, you get that wherever Android store it is. I'm definitely an Apple person. But get the app, because then you'll get your notifications. You're going to be able to get instant access. You're going to be able to listen to my daily message to you every single day. You're going to be able to put in your gratitude. We've so much in here that we designed for you. And Bob always says, build it and they will come. And you have come, and it is time. So it has been my pleasure being here with you tonight. Check your emails. We will also send you all of these links in your emails. Check your spam and your junk and all those other places. Just look for Dynamite Lifestyle. I trust that you have really felt value in everything that we've shared here tonight. I know I have felt the energy. I know Bob is smiling so much. And I know that this is meant to be. So with that, I'm going to share a short lasting video. I am so honored that you came here tonight. Share this with other people. Let's really unite. Let's compound this energy together and let's go to where you really want to go, because it is possible. If you see it in your mind, you will hold it in your hand. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. As I said, we're going to play a short video. Click that link. Go claim your ticket. Don't say you're going to do it tomorrow. Do not procrastinate over this. Make the decision now. All right? Thank you so much, everyone. I look forward to looking at your comments. Come inside the source, leave a comment, and I will see you on the tribute on the 22nd. All right? Good night. God bless. Bye-bye.
Inception is back. Yes, our 2-day live event is back here in Belfast, Northern Ireland. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself a question? Who am I? Where am I? Where am I going? Well, I am here to tell you exactly that and give you the starting point in which you can take any idea, move it into implementation, and then achieve an outcome.
She really has the gift to help people moving forward. Her unwavering faith that these spiritual laws, the natural laws, the universal laws, they work.
I really cannot imagine not wanting to be surrounded by this.
That in-person interactiveness, it kind of gives you a wee nudge into finding out who you really are. It's like if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands. So investing in yourself is probably the best investment that you could ever do in this life.
Inception was the start of me becoming happy, successful and having fun. You know, you can't put a price on that. I want to learn from the best. I see her results and I want to duplicate and learn everything from her wisdom, her expertise and her knowledge. It's a no-brainer for me.
I want you to take the time now to click the link, get on board and come and join us on this live experience where I'll be on stage teaching you the direct formula on how you can change your entire life.